Number 5, Final Fantasy XII. Number 4, Final Fantasy X. Number 3, Final Fantasy VIII. Number 2, Final Fantasy VII. And number 1, Final Fantasy VII. No, don't dislike the video and leave so fast. That's not the actual list. Anyways, today I've got my top 5 favorite JRPG video. It's not all turn-based, but this was a recommendation from a fan on my main channel, which I talk about anime and manga and that sort of thing, which is bobsamurai. And this channel I talk about video games occasionally and also movies as well, whenever I have the time, because I'm pretty busy doing a lot of other things. But top 5 JRPG list. I would make a 10 list, but then I haven't really played a whole lot of JRPGs and beaten a whole lot of them to put on this list, so I'm just going to put it at 5 because I do have a definite list of 5. Starting off at number 5, which is not actually a turn-based game, but it is a Japanese RPG, that is Shenmue. Now, I guess some people consider this to be a action adventure martial art type of game, but I would consider this to be an RPG, and so would a lot of other people as well. But Shenmue, it's a love-hate relationship with Shenmue, and I'll explain why in a little bit. But Shenmue is such a different game than any game that you've ever played. It's pretty much like real life. You can do everything that you can do in almost everything that you can do in the real world in Shenmue. You can go to work. You can earn money. You can take that money, go around town, go to the store, buy food that you can't eat, because for some reason Ryo never eats anything. You see him for like 100 hours if you count Shenmue 2. Never eats a thing, but you have to watch him sleep. And I guess because it doesn't eat, he doesn't have to go to the bathroom either. But you do everything else. Go to the store, buy food, you can buy little trinkets and collectibles. You don't get anything for collecting these things, but it's fun to do it because it allows you to do it, because the game is that in-depth. You could go to the arcade and play games. That's right, this is the inception of video games here. You can go to the arcade, you can play Space Harrier, you can play Outrun, and I think there's a couple other games as well. You can play darts, there's plenty of games that you can play. I think Shenmue 2 had more games in it that you could play, but you could go to the corner store at midnight and practice martial arts in the dark in the empty parking lot, because that's something I also do every day. And anyways, Shenmue is a great game. You can do so many things in here, and the story is a big mystery. You're chasing around Londi, you're looking for sailors, there's a lot of twists in the story, and you uncover new things, there's a lot of mystery there, and it's really a great game, and you watch your character become stronger. Anyways, moving on to number 4, which starts all of my turn-based RPG games here, we have Grandia 2. I love Grandia 2 so much. This game is out on Dreamcast and also PlayStation 2, wherever you want to play it. It might be better on PS2, I can't really say for sure, but Grandia 2. I love this game, not only for the characters of the world that you play through, but the combat system. The Grandia combat system is my favorite combat system out of any RPG. I never played Grandia 1, but I played Grandia 2, I beat Grandia 2, I played Grandia Xtreme, haven't beat that yet, it's a very long game, and I beat Grandia 3. Grandia 3 has the best out of all of them as far as combat goes, because it improves upon the system, but basically the system is the same throughout all the games. What it is, you get this circle down at the bottom right-hand corner, which is your time scale, and all of your characters and all of your enemies are on the scale, and you have 4 different spaces. You have your waiting space, where you're waiting to choose your attack, which then you have your preparation space. After you choose your attack, you prepare it. If it's a special attack, then it'll take longer. If it's a regular attack, it won't take as long, and then you have your waiting turn in between all of that, and there's probably something else there too. Depending on how you time your attack, depending on how fast your characters are, if you time your attacks very similar time to each other, then you can combo the attacks together, and doing this after a while will unlock combo moves in certain games. And also, if your attacks are strong enough and you time them at the right time, you can actually interrupt your enemy's attack as well, which adds another level of difficulty to the game, which makes it sound like it'll be a bit easier. You can interrupt your enemy's special attacks, but if you're trying to heal yourself, you're trying to revive a person on your team, or you're trying to do a special attack, you can also get interrupted by these enemies, so it is a bit difficult. So the story of Grandia 2 is something that I was reminded of when I played Tales of Symphonia. It really reminded me of Grandia 2. It felt like it took a lot of inspiration from this game, to me at least, because in Grandia, you're going from town to town, and each town has been corrupted by some sort of demon, and that caused the mayor or some of the leader or something about the town to be corrupted. It's been granted a long time since I played this game, but the town is corrupted, and you're guarding this priestess that goes around and purifies it, and each time she purifies the town, the demon gets locked up inside of her, which is a body part of this super big demon that once you assemble him, you gotta fight him. But I don't even think that's the end of the game. I could be wrong about that because it's been such a long time. But you've got that going on, and then you've got every character within this game, they've got their own story, and you see parts of their story as you're going through the game, so you get very attached to all of these characters here. And on top of that, the way that this game ends, I'm not going to spoil the ending, of course, but this has easily the best wrap-up to a story that I've ever seen out of an RPG, because after the end of the game, you beat the final boss, you see what happens at the end, but then you get the post-ending, where it goes through all of the characters individually, and sometimes the characters' stories are interlocked because they stay together, but you'll see what happens to them after the game ends, the post-game ending story to them. You see their wrap-up and what they've been up to months or so after the game has ended, and I really love that. So moving on to number 3, we have my very first RPG of all time, which you're gonna say I'm a late one for this, but Final Fantasy X. This is my very first RPG of all time. I didn't know anything about RPGs. I felt that this was more of a strategy game when I started playing this. I started with a demo disc of the game, and I was hooked. I beat that demo probably like 10, 15, 20 times. I always wanted to play that, and then I finally went out and bought this game, and I loved it. I beat this game. I had so much time to play this. This was back in high school, and I didn't really have a whole lot to do. But I played this game. I beat it like 4 or 5 times, and each time I'll try and complete more of it than I did the last time. I would uncover this language, because there's this other language in the game that you can unlock, and you can learn what they're saying as you play the game. You can unlock special weapons, you can unlock special aeons, and there's so many unlockables in this game that you can get. And also, the characters here are great, the story has a lot of twists. Well, the characters, aside from the main characters, probably has one of my least favorite main characters, actually the least favorite main character out of any game, which is Titus right here. Titus, I think he's called Titus, but I don't care for him. He's very whiny, and I just didn't really like him overall. So moving on to number 2, we've got Shadow Hearts. Not just Shadow Hearts 1, not just Shadow Hearts 2, but the entire series of the Shadow Hearts franchise. I've only played and beat Shadow Hearts 1 and 2. I've played 3, but I didn't beat that one yet. But with Shadow Hearts 1 and 2, if I didn't include Shadow Hearts 1 into this list, then Shadow Hearts 2 would easily be my number 1 on this list, but because I'm including the first game with it as well, that kind of drops it down a little bit, because Shadow Hearts 2 is amazing, and then Shadow Hearts 1, it's really good, but even on this list of 5 that I have right here, it wouldn't even make 5, because it's a good game, but it's not better than all of these here. But with Shadow Hearts 2, what makes this so great is the world that you're set in. It's this living world that is back, it's around the time of World War I. It's either during or after, I can't remember because it's been a long time, and it's very dark. And it's this moody atmosphere that you find within this game, and also it's dark because you get to fight these demons, and your main character, Yuri, he absorbs the spirits of these demons, and he becomes a demon himself. What is also so great about this game is all of the other characters as well. This had pretty much the same effect on me as Grandia 2 had, where I was so connected to these characters that I really hated to have this game end. And I always want to go back and replay this game and rebeat it. I think I will sometime soon, because I've been playing a whole lot of RPGs lately, but combat system here is really great as well, because you've got that Wheel of Destiny. If you want to learn more about the Shadow Hearts series, then check out my Shadow Hearts 1 review, which is my previous video on this channel, but it's a great game, and also the world that you play through here has so many secrets, so many unlockables. As you play through the game, you go through, I think it's like, you go through Europe, and then you also go to Japan. I think you go through some China as well in the second game. And as you complete areas, you can go back to old areas, and things change, people change, stores open, and you can unlock, you can do secret quests, you can do a lot of secret things within this game, and there are plenty of unlockables. The characters here are lovable. Now, this is a very dark game. Shadow Hearts is very dark. It adds an element of comedy to it, because there's a lot of funny characters here that really lighten up the mood to it. It's not just this constant dark feel to it, and that's the same way with the first game. But the second game is even funnier, because you'll have characters like, for example, you get a professional wrestler on your team, and his weapons, he uses these giant poles as weapons. He'll come up and whack you with them. So you press X up to something. Maybe you're in a wrestling ring, and you press an X up to the locker, and you can actually steal the locker for your character, and he starts using that locker as a weapon. Or you steal a fish off a wall. Maybe it's a fish on one of those boards that's been stuffed. You can take that fish and start beating people with the fish, or you can steal someone's mailbox and use that as a weapon. And of course, if you haven't seen my Shadow Hearts 1 review, you fight gods in Shadow Hearts. You fight gods and you destroy them and you absorb their spirit and you become a god yourself that you can use in combat. It is crazy. So moving on to number 1, my top favorite JRPG of all time, Skies of Arcadia. Here I have the GameCube version. I also have the Dreamcast version as well. I don't have the case to it, but I just have the discs. I don't know where the case and the booklets are and everything, somewhere around here, but this game is so great that I originally beat this on Dreamcast, and then I went back and I have the Skies of Arcadia Legends version right here. I refused to beat this game only because I refused to give myself a reason to never go back to this game again. I always wanted to have it so that I could play it. I got up to the final boss, and then I just went back. I saved it outside where you can explore the world. I occasionally will go back. I have about 100 hours in this game right here, maybe like 90 if I'm exaggerating a little bit, but this is a very uplifting, feel-good type of game because you've got these very innocent characters that are going through the game and their friendships are getting closer to each other, and also the world itself is very beautiful. This is my favorite world out of all of the RPGs that I've ever played because you are a pirate flying a pirate ship. Yes, flying, because you can actually fly them in the air. I'll probably put footage up here so that you can see. But you're flying this pirate ship through the world, so as you play the game, you unlock new parts of the world, and you go further, and you go around this world, and you unlock, you discover these secret artifacts in the world, and I'm not sure if they do anything, but I remember collecting a lot of them, and I had a lot of fun doing that. Halfway through the game, you get this island all to yourself and you go through the world recruiting people. You recruit cooks and dancers and architects and blacksmiths, and depending on what blacksmith you recruit, he can create legendary weapons for some of your characters as long as you do the quest for him. So if you're looking at the combat in Skies of Arcadia alone, it's probably one of the worst combat of everything on this list, but you don't just get the player versus player combat on here where you fight the other characters in the game, but you also get to fly your ship around and have pirate ship battles in the air, and you also get to fight these giant gigas, which are these giant monsters which have an enormous amount of power, and you gotta fight against them, and they can shoot these beams and start destroying mass places of the world there. So anyways, that is my top 5 favorite JRPG list, and out of anything here, if I'm fanboying about any of this, it's probably going to be Final Fantasy X because it's my first, and I still think Final Fantasy X is a great game, but there's a lot of controversy about this. It's a very polarizing game. Some people love it, some people hate it, some people really don't care, but with the rest of them, they're all great games, and I highly recommend them all. Still Final Fantasy X too, but any of the other games here, they are must-plays because they are amazing. So anyways, leave me your thoughts about this in the comment section below. What are your top 5, top 10, top whatever JRPG or RPG list? And thank you for watching. I'll see you later.